I think I might had to go up. You heard me?
Tracy, go ahead and hang
No.
up. We're gonna call you back in about 5 minutes or so.
No problem.
All right, bye.
I'm in. We live. I'm in. I'm in. But it's like it's like it did that when I first started it. It just started, just conked out all immediately. And it's 8 people already in.
Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still on. It's running.
Hold on. So we're live now?
Yeah, we live.
Hold on. Let me hold
Hey,
that.
Matita. How you doing? She said hello to you.
Hey, Matita. How you doing? Um, I
Hey,
gotta look for.
Murray. Hey, Richard. Reed. How y'all doing this evening?
I'm waiting for my YouTube to load.
Okay. Hope everybody weekend is going really good.
It didn't show up in my notifications.
Did you post? You think you need to post real quick?
Yeah, I'm about to do that now.
Okay. Man, you can do it. You do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Where you at? Where you got to text him?
Yeah, I got what we just today is reading. I have to put it on the phone.
Okay, you going to contact. You going to Mo? What he under? Anthony?
Bo.
Bo. Not B. Simone. Oh.
If you give me my phone, I know what's going
You
on.
want to text it?
I'm gonna
Oh,
read
she
it.
got herself up there.
I'm gonna read it. I'll read that.
She said, okay.
Hold on, y'all. We're gonna start this live over because it's keep buffering. So just hold tight. We're gonna start it over because it's gonna buffer again, and we don't want to mess up. Cause we got a good show.
Today is
But
reading.
how everybody doing?
I'm gonna read it.
Hey Michelle. Hey dude from Texas. Hey Daryl. Hey Candy Girl.
I ain't gonna read it. I gotta read this.
Let me know. All right. B.
Yes.
Okay, you want me started over because it's going now. But how you
It's
want to do
going
it?
now. So it's going now. So I will just say no.
All right, y'all. I just gotta stay close to the Wi-Fi. But how everybody doing this evening? And sorry about that.
Dude from Texas stuff there. Um.
You got some
So
announcements you want to make?
no. You said that you
Upcoming
wanted to announce
guests.
something about upcoming guests.
Yeah, we got just a few announcements. We got some upcoming guests. We got one coming on tonight. Um, and a couple of more things. We still trying to work out the kinks and everything as far as getting the stuff that we need. You know what I mean? We got some of it, but it's still stuff that we need. But it's gonna get better. Just be patient. Patience is a virtue. Um, and what about the part
Uh,
one, part two, and part three? B.
of the alien encounter.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna still have. We still gotta have part 2 and 3 parts on that whole alien discussion that we had before. So if y'all are interested with that, let us know and we can come up with something else. But if y'all still want to finish up parts 2 and 3 of that, we can still do that in the next couple of weeks or so. Just let us know. And also, tonight's guest, she is an eyewitness. She had 2 dogman encounters, I think, and she also had a unknown cryptid encounter. So, y'all, hopefully, we'll enjoy her story tonight. She's also a subscriber and fellow Doug Pack member. So I'm hoping you guys really enjoy listening to her tell her encounter tonight. And also, we do have a few more guests that are lined up to come on as well and tell their Dogman encounters. We have some people who are scheduled to do interviews with them, like Scott Carpenter. Chris from the Venomous Fringe has reached out to us, so we're thinking about getting him on as well. And we have Jody Cook from the North American Dogman Project, and a few others also that we're looking to interview and get on the show as well. So hope y'all are looking forward to them. I'm sure y'all have heard of some of those names before, so y'all just let us know too if y'all can think of anybody that you want us to try to get on the show. We will reach out to them as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and message our guest for tonight and see if she's ready to go ahead and come on now. So y'all stay tuned for just a second.
Yeah, but like B said though, we do got some good guests coming up. You know that they're gonna come on and they're gonna tell their encounter, and starting in I guess in about I don't know, maybe this weekend, me myself I'm gonna start telling encounters again too. You know, so we're gonna have the lives and we're gonna have me telling our witness encounters. So we trying to, like I said, we trying to cover everything, paranormal, you name it, trying to do it all. You know, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start telling our witness encounters again. So, you know what I mean? We're gonna just get the best of both worlds. You know, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep y'all with new Dogman encounters. We're gonna start doing these Bigfoot, Goat Man, Rake, you name it. So we're gonna try to cover everything, you know, everything. And I just wanted to ask y'all, while y'all on here in the chat before the eyewitness come on, um, have y'all ever heard of I guess they are like the trying to think of that thing called that cryptid from Virginia, Mothman, but they are female. Um, they call them the winged creatures. They look just like a female, but they vicious in the face. You know what I mean? They got the anatomy of a female, but they got they got they got wings. You know, and they got like bird feet for talents and stuff. I heard about this years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's some that's in Egyptian, what is it, Egyptian mythology or
Yeah, I heard
so-called,
about these years
yes,
ago.
so-called mythology that's supposed to be,
I heard about these years ago. Yeah, that's why I was asking you earlier. B, did y'all hello?
Hello.
Okay. All right, B. Whenever you ready, you can introduce ours, and you know she can start and do her.
yes, I don't know if she, I'll let her introduce
All
herself
right.
because
Okay.
I didn't ask her about
Yeah. Okay.
anonymity.
Yeah. And
Hold
we
on,
go ahead.
wait, I didn't ask her about anonymity or anything, so I don't know how anonymous she wants to remain. So if you would, go ahead and just introduce yourself and give us a little background and how you first had your encounter or whatever else you want to tell us that comes to mind.
Um, I am a stay-at-home mom of a beautiful 9-month-old baby boy, and I got interested in cryptids about 4 years ago. I had been kind of interested in them before. I had looked into going into like a Bigfoot conference, and I actually couldn't find anybody who wanted to go with me. So I began, looking around locally to see, what was going on in my area, and I came across Big's channel, and I think that when I started hearing how people would look up and how people would, start to pay attention and know things. I guess at that point about cryptids is when I started to kind of see them. And before that, I've always experienced like ghost type phenomena, like paranormal type phenomenon just throughout my life. I'm a Christian, but I don't hold all of those beliefs to be the only way things are. I'm open to other people's experiences, and I hope that kind of explains a little bit about me. I live in a suburb of Houston called Conroe, Texas, and we have the Sam Houston National Forest in our woods or backyards, if you will. And I had my first encounter actually driving on what would be considered a pretty major highway in not an unpopulated area at all, so not too rural at all. And I guess I just got the ability to see that by listening and learning to look up. So I guess if I didn't introduce a name, let me go by Marie, which is my middle name. And I guess are y'all ready for me to start with the first encounter? Or
Yes. Tracy, do you have your are you looking at this on YouTube too while you're on the call?
I'm not. Should I go ahead and try to pull that up too?
No, I was just asking because it was like an echo in the background, so I was just trying to see. But other than that, your sound quality is great. It was just an echo, and I was trying to figure out.
I'm in my car because I was trying to stay hooked up and have no noises. But I'll go ahead and move outside and see if that makes the echo less.
No, you're fine. The sound quality is good. I just didn't know. I'm just going to try to tell you to turn it down on YouTube if that was the case. But you're good. Keep going.
Okay. Is this any better because I stepped outside? So
yes.
The echo might be better.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so my first encounter, I was driving on Interstate 45, heading from Conroe, Texas to Huntsville, Texas. And because I was interning with a gentleman that does leather craft, so I was going to their home business to work on the leather craft. And it kind of gotten what I call dusky dark. I think it was probably around 5 to 6, maybe 7 if it was daylight savings time. And it was in April of 2018. And I looked up as I was turning left from exit 109 off of Interstate 45. And if you go to the right, you turn onto Highway 75. If you go to the left, you enter the entrance to Huntsville State Park, which is Sam Houston National Forest. So I had turned to the right, and I looked up in the trees, and closest to me in the road, I saw a smaller dogman up in a tree with 2 larger dogmen up in a tree. And at first I thought I was kind of losing my mind. It seemed like it went over a period of time. Time was just kind of slow. I was driving and I just kind of sat there at the stop sign, just looking up, not really believing, like shaking my head. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing here? And they had more like these particular ones had more like a German Shepherd type of head with ears, and the younger one had some brown in it, but mostly black and grays in their coloring, and you could see that they were really muscular, and they were up in the tops of the trees, and it seemed like they were trying to blend in, and they kind of seemed to stare back at me. And I noticed a lot more details in there than I realized I had noticed, when I was talking to Marvin, a lot of those, like I was able to slow down and really concentrate and think about what I had seen. And that one didn't last very long and wasn't, that exciting or anything. But it was like, oh my goodness, I actually saw this and couldn't believe that I had. And then it seemed like it kind of dug into me and stuck with me. And I began to wonder, are these things supernatural? Are they alive? Or, what is the significance here? And I guess probably I went to their house to work on the stuff, and I kind of told them what had happened, and they were kind of teasing me, like, "Oh, you didn't see nothing, you didn't experience that." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I did." And on their property was my second encounter with the Dogman, and he was actually by their backyard. They don't have fences. They live kind of down a dirt road with a cul-de-sac. And that Dogman was about 20 feet from me, and they had been outside smoking they have a semi-wraparound porch, and they had been out smoking on the right-hand side of the house. And I had left my phone earlier that day on the left-hand, the back porch basically area. And so 20 feet from me stood a Dogman, and he went from up to down, and he looked fuller and bigger, hairier, and maybe it was because he was right there by me where those other ones were up in trees. I believe that the other ones were up in really thick pine trees. I didn't notice any hardwood trees, but this guy was standing on the ground, and he was standing up on 2 feet, and he was standing there, and so I saw him really well. The muscles in his legs were really defined, and I again was like, am I really seeing this? And he had kind of a mane that went to, like, all the way around his face and head, went down his back, and then you could see that he had what almost looks like human skin, but it was dark, almost black, kind of like the paws of a dog. And he had regular skin with really defined muscles that went down to a small waist, and I could see his legs, and he had the backward-facing legs, and he had hands with claws that looked like they were at least 3 inches long on each finger. And he went from up to down, and I kind of freaked out, grabbed my phone, and went back in the house. Checked back a little bit later, and he wasn't there anymore. So those are my 2 Dogman encounters.
Okay. You want to go ahead with did you already give the cryptid?
No,
encounter?
she didn't get that. Yeah, you want her to do
Okay.
all of them first, B, and before they start asking questions, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Trish.
Anybody is welcome to ask any question. I'll be happy to answer it.
You want her to tell all of them first, B?
Well, you can ask if anybody has any questions real quick.
Okay. Do anybody have any questions before she get into this next encounter? Y'all can answer anything. Maybe y'all missed something and y'all want to ask her. What eye color was?
The one that was there that night had the yellow amber glowing eyes, and the ones that were up in the trees, it was harder to tell, but I believe that they were orange or yellow. I didn't see anything with red eyes and no other different color eyes, no black eyes or anything like that. So they all had kind of yellowish eyes. I'd say the small one that was up in the tree almost looked like it had tiger's eyes. It looked a little different than the two adults did.
Okay. Somebody in the chat want to know, could you tell if they were male or female? Mainly if you've seen any genitalia parts on them.
The ones in the trees, no, but I was guessing that the biggest one was male because its size. And I thought that the little one up in the tree was a male just because I got that impression.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that was there in the yard there, it was male because you could see its genitalia.
Okay. I have a question. Did any of them have tails?
Yes, they did. All of them that I could see had tails. They were all at least 2 or 3 foot long. The little one had a bit of a stubbier tail, like maybe like a foot and a half, but he was just smaller.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Let me see.
That's why I said that she feel the sense of impending doom that a lot of people feel when close to these creatures.
I didn't hear that too well.
Can you repeat that back to her?
She said, do you feel the sense of impending doom that a lot of people feel when close to these creatures?
I didn't. And I would think that based on how I am, I consider myself an empath, which I pick up on a lot of emotions of people around me and stuff, and animals sometimes too. So I think I would have picked that up if that was something that they were trying to put off, if that makes sense. So no, I didn't feel impending doom.
Matt Maximilian asked, what kind of expression did the Dogman have?
I didn't see one smile at me. They just looked like, a natural being. I didn't see any kind of smirking or grinning or anything. So to me, they just had what I would be considering their normal. Maybe the one that I saw that was 20 feet from me into the tree line, that one might have been a little bit inquisitive, but I didn't really see, there was no grinning of teeth or anything like that. It was just kind of looking at me like, you can't see me or you really see me. Where'd you come from?
As if it was kind of invisible, like it wasn't there. It thought that you didn't see it.
Right. It was trying to not be there.
Right. Richard Reed wanted to know, and I know you probably can't tell, but he wanted to know, as far as they weight, 450, 500 pounds.
I really don't know a lot about weight. My husband used to weigh 700 pounds because he's lost a lot of weight because he was just a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that big dog man was not as heavy as my husband was. He was just taller. So maybe if I was looking at a 7 or 8 foot tall person, maybe that guy weighed that big one up in the tree looked like he might have weighed like 400, 450. And the one that was standing in front of me, he looked like a really big football player from like Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. He looked like a corn-fed boy. He was a big guy.
Did you already ask about the eye color? Somebody was asking about its eye color.
Yes.
Amber and yellow are the colors that I saw.
Richard Reed wanted to know, okay, how tall you think? Well, the only one you probably could tell is the one that was 20 feet from you. How tall you think that Dogman was?
He was at least 6.5 to 8 foot tall, and he was, mind you, he was crouched down. He wasn't standing straight up. He was crouched down, kind of like he was fixing to go get something, and he seemed kind of shocked to see me, and I was definitely shocked to see him. They have a lot of wild animals over there. They have hogs, they have cats, they have rabbits, they have every kind of, wild game over there, deer. So he might have just been hunting.
Okay, let me see. Okay, I think that's all I see right now. As far as questions, let me see if they're still posting stuff on here.
Yeah, I was
Did she say it was about 700 pounds?
No, she said if she was to guess about 4 to 450.
Okay.
For the biggest one that I saw, and he was up in a tree, so I really wouldn't have an accurate way of knowing. I'm just saying based off the size my husband used to be, and he weighs about 350 now. So based off his size, and you know how big around he is, only these guys are muscular and tall. My husband's only like 5'11", so I guess I know how weight can be distributed on a human, not necessarily an animal.
What color were they?
The ones up in the trees had more of the little one was more of a lighter color mixed with the reddish brown, the brown, the black. And the two other ones that were in the trees were darker than the younger one, but I didn't see much more than a few patches of brown type hair. They were mostly dark, almost, I wouldn't say black, but darker colored hair, dark brown. The one that I saw in the tree line 20 feet from me, he was jet black.
Was he the larger of the two?
What now?
Was he the larger of the two?
She talking about the one that was in the backyard.
The one that was in the backyard. I'm gonna assume, and that's just assuming, I'm gonna assume that the one in the backyard was not a fully grown adult. I'm gonna assume that he was a juvenile because he wasn't taller than 6.5 to 7 foot tall. And the ones that I've heard of on the different shows and people talk about have been as tall as 13 foot tall, and I've never seen anything that big my whole life. But we did go out and measure the trees up, and I think that he probably would have been about 6.5 to 7 foot tall. But he was also crouched down.
Oh.
So if he just stood up erect, he might have been taller.
Yeah, you're most likely he would have been.
So.
Right.
One more question. And Thomas wanted know. He said did they have Bigfoot type legs or canine?
From the one that I could see was the one that was 20 feet in front of me, and he had the canine style legs. The ones up in the trees, I'm going to assume they did, because of the way that the little one's legs were wrapped around the tree, I could see the knee of like a dog. The two look different to me, though. The ones up in the trees look more like a German Shepherd facing ears and stuff, and the one that I saw 20 feet in front of me in the tree line, he looked more like a Great Dane. His ears were like a Great Dane with cropped ears, not a Great Dane with the natural floppy ears. Great Danes have a big square, almost muzzle.
Right.
And their ears, when they're cropped, stick right up. I had a schnauzer with ears cut like that. Almost kind of looked like a dragon, you know, like that style of face and muzzle. My schnauzer almost looked like a dragon, not the Dogman. The Dogman looked more like a Great Dane, but he had real hairy mane. And he had kind of like a hump type thing on his back with a lot of hair. So either it was a hump or it was just a lot of hair on his back.
So basically that one looked it like a Great Dane.
Its face and ears looked like a Great Dane.
Okay.
Its body looked like a He-Man figure.
Right. Yeah, I know that.
Its body was rippled out, and it was really weird how long the arms are. The arms are long. They appear to be like, if you take a human arm and sew another arm on them, they have at least another foot to 2 foot just to their wrist. So I noticed that too.
Claws?
Huh?
Dude from Texas wanted to know, did you see its claws?
Crawl? No, crouch.
His claws.
Oh, paws. Yeah, they just like hands with claws. I think earlier I said the claws were like 2 to 3 inches long.
Oh,
I've
wow.
also been to Kodiak Island, Alaska, and I've seen the Kodiak grizzlies and how big their claws are. This thing's claws were not as big as a Kodiak grizzly. That bear's claws were huge.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Any more questions? Y'all have any more questions? We're going to give y'all a few. Tracy, on its hands, did it look like raccoon hands, or did it look more like, did it look like dog paws, like just extended, or what did that look like?
It looked like human hands with claws, only the fingers were like the tips of our fingers are maybe like an inch long. The tips of his fingers looked to be like an inch and a half to 2 inches. And it looked like if he held a basketball, he could just squish it like me holding a tennis ball. He looked like if he held a basketball, he could squish it like I can a tennis ball.
Wow.
Have you had more than just the encounters that you told us about? Has there been times when you felt like you were outside and you felt like you were being watched, or did you ever feel like there was something else there? Did you ever smell anything like that?
I've been camping in the Sam Houston National Forest and heard tree knocks. I've also been out there in some of the trails hiking, and we were hear grunting and different sounds in the woods. So that's the only encounter with that type of thing that I'd ever had. With Dogman or Sasquatch. I've never actually seen or smelled a Sasquatch or smelt anything foul. Also note where they live, it's unrestricted, and so not everyone out there does their septic system upkeep like they're supposed to. So sometimes when the breeze is blowing the wrong way, you smell septic out where they're at. It just kind of depends on the water levels. I don't know if you've been in a countrified area like that, but some people don't. It's not, I live in the city, so it's not like when you live in the city and everyone, is taken care of like they're supposed to. When there other people not taking care of their septic, sometimes it stinks out there. But other than that, I've never smelt anything weird out there.
I have another question. Anybody else have a question? I think I have a few more. I kind of lost my train of thought for a second, trying to figure out what I wanted to say. Did anybody else have anything that y'all want to ask? Rita Brown said, was that before your encounters? What before her encounters, Rita?
Camping in Sam Houston National Forest with hearing things and feeling like is that what she means?
Probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well before that. That was as a child growing up and as a teenager, walking in the woods. I'm not a hunter. I've been though in the woods of East Texas, Nacogdoches, the area of Oak Flat. I've been back in those woods with my dad and my grandpa and never experienced anything other than just normal animal. So in East Texas, I was never afraid to be out in the woods. But out here, other than being at Lake Conroe and going boating and fishing and things like that, and going camping, I never really experienced a whole lot of that type of stuff.
Okay. And Bizzle A wants to know, do you think that the encounters that you had were related, or do you think they were two different Dogman packs?
I think they were two different style of dogmen, but it may just be like humans, and that's what I wonder. Is it just like humans, and is it just like there's different types of people look different ways, and they're not necessarily, any difference in species. We're all the same, we're all one, but a lot of humans look different. So I guess I regard it as that way.
When you seen the ones that you seen in the trees, what did you do? Like when you seen them, did you try to run away? Did you just stand there and did they ever go away? Or did they stay there that whole time just looking at you as you stood there? What happened with that?
I was literally on one road I was turning left to get onto another road. I was turning left to get on Highway 75 from 45, and I just sat there at that stop sign looking up because there wasn't any behind me, there wasn't anybody in front of me, and it was just maybe a couple, like maybe 100, 150 yards back, feet back from a road, a busy traveled road. And I'm just looking up in the trees at them. So I don't necessarily think I got scared, although it rattled me more like, am I really seeing this? You know? And I had to just kind of recenter myself, but I blocked it out and went on and went to work, if you will, because even though I wasn't getting paid, I was still doing a job. I was just interning to learn how to do leather work. So
Okay.
I went ahead and went to work.
Okay. Vincent Richardson said, do you dream about the incident?
Not that one. Not that one. I have in the past, but it's not nightmares and it doesn't scare me.
Okay. Let me see. You already said that in your encounters they didn't show their teeth, they didn't snarl at you or anything like that.
There were no sounds involved in either. It was just, I see them, I guess I could kind of hear the one that was right there in front of me. I could hear him moving through the leaves and stuff, but no, there was no sounds other than that, no smell, and I wouldn't say that I wasn't afraid, but it wasn't a fear response. It was more of a, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. So I went in the house really fast. I grabbed my phone, and then I wouldn't go out there by myself either. And they have coyotes that come out and howl in packs around where they live. And I would always run in the house if I heard the coyotes after that. Before that, I wouldn't run in the house when I heard the coyotes as long as somebody else was out there with me. But after that, I would run in the house when I heard the coyote. I was like, I don't want to see one of those things.
Right. And then when I had my encounter, I refused to go outside and be outside smoking after dark or anything like that after the fact because I knew that they were there and they were just like a few yards away from me. And after that, I never looked at being outside at night the same again.
Even though I live really close to an interstate in the middle of Conroe, an apartment complex, and I have a fence right by my apartment, I'm still scared to come out on my front porch if I'm alone, even though it would be less likely that they'd be in this area than they would out in the woods, but I'm still scared to be out here.
Right.
And
now,
I don't know if I missed it or not. Tracy, did you say that this was near where you live, or was this somewhere else? Where you have
Huntsville's about 45 minutes drive towards Dallas. If you're driving 45 north, Huntsville is kind of off to the right, and the state park is right off the interstate. So maybe 45 minutes tops. The way I drive, I can get there in 30 minutes. But if you're driving how you're supposed to, it's about 45-minute drive from where I live.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Oh, somebody said, let me see. Do you think they tried to follow you?
If they have, I haven't known I haven't known for them to. So
Okay.
one's never touched me. They said that if one touches you or if one gets some kind of a psychic type link. Now, if I was out in the woods more often, I guess that'd probably be the only way I could answer that question. And
Right.
being that I have a little boy, maybe we will go camping. So maybe sometime later in my life, maybe I will have, more experiences. But I think it's helped to kind of know what to look for and not just be oblivious anymore, too.
Absolutely.
So.
All right. Well, you can go ahead on with your other encounter, and then if they have any more questions regarding the Dogman encounter, we'll just catch up then.
Okay. The third encounter, I guess it would be the second encounter with a cryptid on that same property. And I'll say if it's okay with you guys, I'll say what happened, and then I'll give a little bit of background information about the property that I found out later on, if you like, to maybe explain it.
Yes.
But at the same property down Highway 190 in Huntsville, in about 2015, we were all again working on projects to take and sell. And out there in Huntsville, we were working on actually a show to take stuff to go sell it out there. It's custom leather work. But I went out onto the same back porch, almost in the same area, but a little bit further over to the neighbor's property. I got a bad feeling, and then I looked up, and when I looked up, I saw a huge, beastly thing running, and it felt evil. So I started praying, and it looked like, nobody think I'm weird, but it looked like a rhinoceros body with hair, but it appeared to have paws like a bear, and it had 3 horns. It had a huge face. It was just massive. It had the biggest horn curved up at the end of its nose and came up, and it had eyes that almost looked like the size of a dinner plate. So it had huge eyes, and it was running full speed, and it kind of came from the back to the left of their property is the neighbor's property, and it came out of the wood line around the front of the neighbor's house and was trying to come back around to the side of my friend's property, where it looked like it was headed into the same forest opening where I saw the Dogman standing. But this was in 2015, so this was like 3.5, 4 years before I saw the Dogman. And I just kind of started praying against it and was praying for protection. And it appeared that running at a full speed, it appeared to be trying to break through something that I could not see. And it kept appearing to run in full force into something that seemed to be pushing it back. And it was getting angry at it. And it kept trying to run, like, basically onto my friend's property, but it could not. And then it back down, turned, and ran into the wood line back behind the neighbor's house. But that was really, really a strange thing. And a weird experience. But my friend saw my face whenever I had just seen it, and she goes, "What is wrong with you? You are white as a sheet." So I told her what I had seen. Her husband was laughing at me and making fun of me, and he said, "No, look at her. She really saw this." And then she's of Catholic faith, or was raised that way. So she went and got candles and was burning like Mary, like the different saints candles around the house, and we prayed together. So I wasn't sure if that was a demon. I would have said that was a demon when I first saw it. But studying cryptids a little bit more, either that was a demon or that was a cryptid. But it was an animal, and it was very large, and it seemed very, very powerful, like it would hurt something. But that was 4 years before I had either of the Dogman encounters. And also, I researched that area after that happened. There's a graveyard over there. There's a body of water over there. There's the open forest back there. There's Indian burial grounds back there. So if it was a spiritual type entity or something like that, I just never, basically, how do you research that? You go online and try to say, is there a demon that looks like a Pokemon, you know? You don't know how to research it. So I didn't know, I wouldn't know what it was called. I just know what I saw and what I felt.
Wow.
And that I saw it. And I'm not insane.
It almost sounds like something prehistoric somewhat.
Yeah, it do.
Like but I can't think of those things. Like, how you had the Triceratops, and I know it's not that because you said it had fur and stuff like that on it. But then you had like those, it was just some really huge things that existed back in prehistoric times when you think about, like those saber-toothed tigers that were so humongous, the woolly mammoth, and you had, there was something else too, and I can't think of what it was, like that ground sloth that they had back then that was
The
like
giant,
giant.
yeah. The giant ground sloth.
And like what she's saying right now, it almost makes me, when you think about a woolly mammoth or something like that, that's a big elephant that had fur, which we don't see them that have fur like that today. But now, like what she's saying, what if that's some type of prehistoric creature? But then, because we've been told that stuff doesn't exist, but you got people who all over the world have had encounters with the Loch Ness Monster. There's been sightings and videos and pictures taken within the last 100 to 200 years where people have caught pterodactyls flying. Or there's one picture from, like, I don't know if the early
1800s, I think. Late 1800s.
Yeah, with that pterodactyl, they were holding it. And there's some stories in Africa that to this day where they have, I can't pronounce the name of it, but they have, they say, which is a prehistoric dinosaur that's still living now.
The Motembe Bay or something like that. I know what you're talking about. It's like a dinosaur.
Yeah, something like that, and it's hard to pronounce in their tongue, but yeah, I've seen a documentary on that. But then, she also mentioned, did you say, Tracy, that it was trying to get on the property? It was trying to get on the property?
It was trying to get on their property. It looked like it was barreling its way and something was stopping it, although I couldn't see what was trying to stop it. But I had also prayed that it wouldn't get over there, that it couldn't come. I was praying that it couldn't.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So, but
did it feel like
you ask yourself,
force field or something like that?
Repeat it again.
What?
Did it seem like it was some type of invisible force field there that like was holding it back?
Yes. If you could have imagined in your mind running into a volleyball net but not being able to see the volleyball net, that's what it looked like. It looked like it was trying to run into some kind of a fence. There was some invisible, it looked like it was digging into the ground. There was dirt flying up. It looked like it was trying to get through there, but it couldn't get through there. And I'm just assuming it's because I was praying protection around the property and around us, because it felt like it shouldn't be there.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this came maybe from another dimension, or was it something that was created? If you had to guess.
It was something that that was there. I don't think that it was 100% physical. I think it was manifesting itself as physical, but I don't know that it was 100% physical. Because if it was, I wouldn't have been able to not see what was trying to hold it back. Well, in my mind, anyway.
Right.
So to me, it had to be either spiritual, dimensional, but then again, so are a lot of the cryptids. A lot of the cryptid sightings, either the cryptids are just animals, and the things that people are seeing that are spiritual are pretending to be like a werewolf or like a dogman, either like a demon or a ghost or an alien is pretending to be a dogman, and there are actually dogmen. That's what I wonder.
Open carry state, so it's totally legal.
Yes.
So I didn't mean to answer your question with the question. I don't really know.
Okay.
But in the research I've done, there are both. Or there may be a veil between our world and theirs, and they can come and go.
Right.
We just don't have the technology to do that, or the ability.
We don't. But just like
we don't.
Just like B said though, it could be some kind of prehistoric creature from, millions of years ago, and I'm sure that we don't know every animal that was alive back then. They still unearthing stuff.
That's true. That's very true.
It
could. If you're looking at the paranormal side, it could have been like what do they call that? Like I've heard that term where it's like a snippet of the past, and it's just like almost like a movie reel showing. I mean, it could have been something like that, but it didn't. It felt really real. So there was actually fear. I actually had fear inside me for that thing. It actually rattled me. That upset me.
How big you think it was?
It was at least 5 foot tall and at least six to 8 feet long.
Good God Almighty!
It was bigger than a horse and shorter, a little bit shorter than a horse, and its legs looked like it would take my whole arm just to wrap around one leg.
Right.
Its legs looked huge.
Okay, if you had to describe his face, now I know you said to you it looked just like a rhinoceros with just some huge eyes.
Right. And it would have been, the face would have been more rounder than a rhinoceros. A rhinoceros is almost like straight out and just a horn. This one was like bigger, wider, and the little horns, if I had to guess on the size of the horns, I would have said maybe half a foot on the tall on the first horn. The second horn would be a little bit taller, maybe a foot and a quarter, and then the big one looked like it was about 3 foot tall.
Okay. If you could say how wide this was, can you compare its size to a cow? Was it thicker than a cow, or?
I have a Mazda 3, and if you added about 2 foot on the back of my little bitty hatchback, it was at least as wide as my car.
Wow.
It was huge.
What color?
And I was standing.
Go ahead.
Okay. I was standing on the porch, looking at it. So I was about 2 foot off the ground on, a wooden deck, looking at it, and it was still way, way taller than me.
What about his skin color?
It looked to be like a gray, and then it appeared to have kind of iridescent, shiny type fur with some brown, some blonde, but mostly like a grayish color to it. The hair looked kind of coarse all over its body, and then by its feet it looked kind of fluffy.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
It really was.
Either time when you seen had your sightings, did you notice any lights or any orbs around?
Not for any of that. Not for any of that.
Did it have a snout?
It did have a small tail.
No.
It had a tuft of hair on the back.
Okay, did it have a snout? Like what kind of nose?
Yes, it did.
It had a snout,
It did.
okay.
It had a snout.
Okay.
Was it elongated?
Was it elongated?
It more curved up, but yes, just like a rhinoceros one, but a rhinoceros one that's flatter. This one curved more up. The face was more curved up. It didn't go just straight across. It went kind of out.
Wow.
It didn't appear to have any kind of teeth or fangs or anything like that. It looked like an elephant or a rhinoceros mouth.
You right, Richard.
It had a big butt like a bear, which is why I keep saying, and its paws look like a bear's paws. That's why I kept saying it looked like it was part rhinoceros and part bear.
Do you think it seen you? Like, did it see you there?
I don't think so. I mean, it had to have been able to see me because I was right there in front of it, but it didn't really. It wasn't after me. It was coming around the front of the house and going towards the. It's like if you were to run in front of your neighbor's house and run from one fence to the other, it was kind of like that.
Okay.
It was like doing kind of like a half circle from the back of the neighbor's wood line over in front of their house and off into my friend's house. It's a cul-de-sac, so the houses are a little bit staggered.
Okay, so if you could say how many feet away from it was you when it started hitting what seemed to be like a force field?
About where the Dogman
20?
About where the Dogman was, but over about 10 foot further around the house. So probably about 20, 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But it was stopped, and it was over to the left hand side, whereas the Dogman was right center with the porch and the back door. This is over to the left of the porch.
Happy birthday, Mr. Carlitos.
Happy birthday.
Was you that's right, man. Was you afraid that it would come back?
I just prayed, and we prayed over the house, and so after that, we just kind of left it at that. I don't know why it was there to begin with or why I felt the need to pray about it, but I didn't really think about it anymore except that I didn't want to experience that again.
Right.
Which is why I was asking them about the graveyard, the water sources, because if it's a demon or a spirit like that, they travel a lot through waterways. The research I've done, they do. Anyway. So I was just telling her that, that they should pray.
Right. Because a lot of cases, though, that do work.
I don't know. There are things that are, I guess, just like us, we're constantly in transit, constantly going from here and there. And so I don't really look at it like it was something that was always there because I never saw it again, and that was 2015. So it wasn't like, I don't know, like we have paranormal sightings where I live, and there's an old cowboy that the back part of the back room of my house, he looks like he's opening up a door and walking into a front door, and he walks through my back room, and I see him all the time and have, because I've lived in my apartment for 17 years. So I see him all the time, but this didn't feel like that. This was just that one time I saw him. and I've never seen him again or felt him again, if that makes sense.
Right. Is you scared to go back to your friend's house?
No, I've been there for as long as they've lived there. I've been there and have been around. They're building like a big pond and everything in the back, and it seems like a lot of that stuff has stopped over there because they're doing a lot of building and stuff out there. So they're trying to build a fishing pond in the back part of their property. So I don't know if that's the reason why it seems to have stopped over there. But since I have a baby too, I'm not getting out as much as I did, and I'm certainly not working late. We would work late over there when it was cooler or hotter, because the shop is outside, and so we would work really late, so we weren't in the heat of the day with no air conditioning in the shop. And so I would go out there late nights and stuff, but you can't do that with a baby, or I can't do that with a baby. My son needs to go to sleep and requires me to be home, so I probably won't start back up with the leather work till he's at least 3 or 4 years old. So I won't be out there as much as I used to, but not because I'm afraid of anything, just because I'm busy with him.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, Marvin?
Wait, man, I'm still looking through.
Any of y'all have any more questions? Well, I do. I wanted to know, like, did it, when the creature appeared, did it just come out of nowhere, or did you see it running off, like, did you see it coming from a distance first, and then it just showed up and appeared, or did it just seem to appear out of nowhere?
No, it came out of the woods. I saw it come out of the woods.
Okay.
There's a lumber company there, and the lumber company sold their, like 30 years ago, the lumber company sold their area to a subdivision, and the subdivision lost its HOA, so it's an unrestricted area with no homeowners association. So what it is that the lumber company has a road up the back of everybody's property, and they let those trees grow for a certain amount of years, and then they go cut down. You know, they cut down some trees after 10 years, some after 20, some after 30. So it's pretty much, they lease it out to let hunters run through to kill the hogs and stuff. We've been down there when the hunters came with their dogs, hunting wild hogs, hunting deer. Like, there's people running through their front yard with guns chasing a hog. So it's kind of country back there.
Let me see.
So I don't know if that explains the area a little bit more or not, but there's a lot of trees and a lot of open forest.
That explained a lot. When it was coming out of the tree line, was it kind of just trotting, or was it running?
It was walking out of the tree line, and then when it decided to go around the house, it was running around the house and looked like it was trying to charge through whatever barrier stopped it. It looked to me like it would have been destined to go into the tree line. My friend has a dirt path and an opening of their tree line in a dirt path that runs back to the back of the property, and then there's like a little road cut out by a bulldozer that belongs to the lumber company, and a lot of animals do like their game trails back there. There's always a lot of animals. If you sit back in her little area that we call the park, if you sit back there on her little swing, you'll see, if you're real quiet, you'll see animals, foxes, deer, rabbit. I've never seen the hogs, but you can hear the hogs going that way.
Yeah, I know y'all got a whole bunch of them down there.
Yeah, we do. We even have the area I grew up in, which is the Woodlands. They've even got hogs out there terrorizing people in the rich subdivisions. They've got the hogs chasing old people down. You can look that up on the internet in the Woodlands, Texas. They've actually had a problem with that.
And some of them get real, they get big.
Some of them do get big. Some of them do get big. I don't know where I heard it. I think it might have been on Jeffrey's channel or one of the other channels, but I even heard a Dogman encounter from the Woodlands, Texas, and they were reading it from a Reddit post about 3 years ago. So I think there's Dogmen all around the area where I live.
Right.
Within, 40, 50, 60 miles of where I live. I think that they really are all around. But I just don't know for sure. I wish I could, I'll try to find it and post it in the link in the chat room of, I don't mind if the dog pack people know who I am, but I don't just want anybody to know who I am.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People.
That's why we try to keep, what stays here, we try to keep it here.
Yeah. So I'll try to find that post and I'll try to find that Reddit article that was about the Woodlands, Texas. But the Woodlands, Texas was a swamp area that the man who developed the Woodlands, now it's all oil and gas and higher end place, where people live because they work in Houston and they commute out here. Well, now they've moved some of the oil and gas companies out here by where I live. But going as a child, I went all through, there's trails all through the Woodlands, and I went all back there. I can go back there in the middle of the night and know where I'm at and how to get around. But there's nutria rats out there. There's deer. They don't allow you to have fences in your yard so that the deer and stuff can come in your yard. So if there's dogmen in that area too, they would have plenty of water and plenty to eat and deer and everything.
Wow.
So it makes sense to me.
Barbara Adams wanted to know what was the color of the eyes of the rhino-looking creature.
It was black. They were big, round, and black. They had a white pupil, a white around the black pupil, but they were huge and they were black.
Wow.
It had eyelashes. It had eyelids. And you could only see one eye on the side I was on. I'm just going to assume that the other eye was over there. But I didn't see the other eye, actually. But I'm going to assume it had one eye, because it appeared to have one eye on each side.
Okay, let me see. There was a bunch of questions on here that I missed. How loud were the footsteps of the creature when it was charging?
How what?
How loud was the footsteps? Could you hear him as his feet was hitting the ground?
I honestly don't know if I could or not. I was in slow motion that day. I was really frightened, and I don't remember sounds. So I don't really know, but I could see it. I could see that it had a lot of weight to it, and I could see that it was trampling into the ground. It was when it was running. It almost looked like a buffalo on the plains running.
Wow.
It was running, so it was very big.
That's big.
But I didn't hear it, no. And maybe that's just my response. Maybe I cut off when I get scared, maybe I cut off the sound. I don't know. But I didn't hear it, no.
And somebody, let me see, who said that? Let me see. I don't know if it was Matt Maximilian. Somebody said, did you hear it making any grunts or any sounds? Dude from Texas, the rhino looked one, did it make any sounds or grunting?
I didn't.
Okay. Let me see. Marvin, did you have any more questions? I'm still scrolling through here.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. But I think we covered a lot of questions. I guess on this. Trying to figure out what it was. I mean, what it looked like. She basically said what the eyes looked like to her, what the skin looked like, the hair that it had on its body, that it had bad paws. So it's just it's creepy because it's like something or something mixed some DNA up or something.
It it the best way I could describe it was when you're looking at the Pokemon cards, if they weren't cartoonish and looked like an animal.
You
Yeah,
right.
I was asked by my mom and different people whenever that happened, well, what would you describe it as? And I'm like, a gigantic Pokemon, but it didn't look friendly.
Right. But that makes you think, though. It was somebody messing with the DNA of this thing because it came out with just different parts of different animals. That ain't natural.
No, it's
That's
not.
that's not natural.
That's why when I thought about it, it took me years to just think whether I thought it was a cryptid or whether I thought it was a demon. And I led more because I prayed and it seemed to halt. It seemed to put a stop to it. Maybe unless us praying, if you're a spiritualist and not a Christian or whatever, if us praying causes us to be able to open and close portals, maybe it was trying to get in a portal and I closed the portal if you're a spiritualist and not a Christian.
Right.
But I believe that it must have been not natural because I prayed and it had to leave and it couldn't get through.
And that's what I wanted to ask you, B. Do you think it was natural?
No.
From the way she described it?
I don't think it was natural. I think it was I think it was supernatural. I think it was some kind of cryptid. It was some kind of cryptid chimera, some kind of lab experiment gone wrong, some kind of evil Nephilim type entity that we don't know of, or either that or some kind of prehistoric beast that we've been told is extinct but still exists underground or something like that. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it's just too strange.
Yeah.
Is anyone in the chat room Native American? Have they heard of any type of Native American spirit that is like that? Because I know some natives will not talk about what they see because they feel it'll bring it on if they talk about it.
Yeah, you're right.
So, if anyone in the chat room...
You know anything on that, B?
No, I'm waiting. If anybody's in the chat room that have heard of this, I guess as far as Native American spirits are concerned, could y'all chime in or give your commentary on it?
Yeah, I'm not much to speak of, but my great-grandfather was half Cherokee Indian and half Mexican. So I have a little bit of Native in me, so maybe that's why I can see stuff like that is what I think sometimes.
Could be.
But I don't think I'm enough to do any damage. I'm not enough of a percentage, but maybe that's why I have the ability to see some of the things that I've seen in my life. And maybe not.
Anybody on here Native American that heard anything about that? Or could elaborate on it? Okay, Candy Girl said I'm half Native, but I don't know anything about those things. Okay.
Okay.
Now,
I wonder...
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, sometimes I've also wondered if it could have been something like a skinwalker.
To be that big? Wow.
Well, that's true. I didn't think about its size
That's
either. Like, that it was too big to be one.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost worth looking up prehistoric creatures too, because like I said, there's still things out there that we've been
Right,
told are
right.
extinct. Like I said, just a few years ago, I've brought this up a few times, but a few years ago when that I don't know what you would call it, water dragon or whatever washed up on the beach, like over in some other country. I can't remember if it was Thailand or what, but he washed up on the beach. I mean, like a sea serpent, a huge dragon. It's crazy.
There's a man when I was a young girl that came to the church I grew up in, and he was an evangelist. You can actually look him up online. His name is Tudor Bismarck, and he preaches on, his main focus is on demonology and stuff. But he was talking about how where he has preached in Africa that they have pterodactyls, and how that the United States government doesn't let the media come through. But he said us seeing pterodactyls there is the same as you seeing a cougar in the woods. And he said to us, they're very real. We see them, they're there. It's not like there's something weird. He said they're there and we see them, but your government doesn't want you to know that. He actually said that in the pulpit, preaching to a church of at least 2,500 people. So he must have believed very strongly in what he was talking about. And you can look him up on the internet. He's Bishop Tudor Bismarck. So that's the only type of dinosaurs, other than the people seeing the movie that was based on the Brontosaurus.
Right.
That's supposed to be real too. That cryptid is supposed to be real in the jungle.
And you know what? That's what B was talking about in Africa, though. That's what that's the type cryptid creature that they seeing over there, and they even drew it what they saw. They like, no, this is what we be seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's stories where they even ate it and got sick too. From Africa, they ate the dinosaur that they saw and they got sick.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, but we can do some research on that though, B. One day we ain't doing nothing though, and just look up all type of dinosaurs and just see what we come up with. Cause I know it's some out there that I ain't seen yet that they probably got, you know what I mean, on the internet.
Yeah. Or some of them you'll see on the internet, and then it'll be taken down, and then you may never see it again.
Right.
So.
Yeah. The real stuff like that gets taken down real quick, or the channels get taken down. They get removed so quick. It's not even funny.
Yes,
they don't want you to see the real stuff.
Yes, it do. Real quick.
Well, sorry, that's all I had for you. It wasn't a whole lot of exciting, but it was my experiences nonetheless.
Right.
People are really enjoying your encounter. They're talking in the chat room, talking about how great it is. Like, you were a great guest tonight, and we really enjoyed it. I mean, it's really interesting.
Yeah. It really
It's
was.
just good to have. It's good to have a place to go to talk to people. When I didn't have a scary one happen to me, but if I had, I would have appreciated the chance, opportunity that y'all given me to speak with y'all about it. And I know I appreciate that. I appreciate the help that you guys and others give people who need to talk about it, because you do feel like you're all alone sometimes when it comes to stuff like this, and you're afraid to tell people because you're afraid that they're going to think you're nuts.
Oh, I get that all the time from my own family. They think I'm crazy as far as my Dogman encounter, to the point where I still get ridiculed and joked on at family events, and just on a regular basis. Just like a few weeks ago, I got joked on really hard. It almost came into an argument. It was crazy.
But
sometimes you can't agree to disagree with people that mean you harm. So if anybody does have an encounter that they're afraid to talk about, even if you think it's minuscule, there are people out there who will listen and who will believe what you say, who care to know what you say.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And one thing about here though, you ain't gonna be judged, you ain't gonna be talked about, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna be ridiculed, you ain't gonna be none of that, you know what I mean? Cause we gonna listen.
Well, and if anyone has any questions that I didn't answer, a lot of times people ask me just the right question, and it makes me think about things that I didn't think about right then when I was, telling my story. It's amazing how much when you slow down and you relive things, you think about more,
This,
about it.
this what I
Like,
want. This what I want to ask you, Tracy. Have you ever heard anybody else near you that had any encounters?
um, the some people, a friend of mine, they have property in Huntsville, Texas, that's deep in the woods, and they had a what do you call those cams?
Trail
For
cam?
the trail cams, and they have a picture, and it looks like a Dogman, and they let me see it, but they wouldn't
Whoa.
give me a copy of it.
Oh
But they're
man.
way out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the San Houston National Forest. Like, there's no power that goes out there or nothing. They just have, their little deer stand and all that stuff out there, and they got that on a trail cam, and I saw it, and it looked like it could have very easily been a Dogman, because it looked like a wolf face, and you could see an arm, and you could see a hand in there. It wasn't a paw, it was a hand. So that's about all I've seen, other than hearing them on different people's channels and stuff. There was an encounter. My husband's from a small town called Trinity, Texas, and there was an encounter that was from the late 80s in Apple Springs in Trinity, Texas. And I was like, hey, that's right by your house. And my husband says, I don't care. He says, I'm so tired of you talking about this all the time, because I obsess about it. I talk about it all the time. I love watching, and hearing people's encounters about Bigfoot and the Dogman and different cryptids. So he's like, I like it, but you talk about it entirely too much. That's what my husband told me. But that's about as close, and nobody that I know, I haven't yet had the experience of being able to talk about Dogman and go, oh, I saw one of those. I haven't had that yet. But I have had people stop me, what are you listening to? Oh, that's so interesting. I've had, like, strangers when I was listening to it and stuff like that stop me and, what are you listening to? So I've gotten a lot of people interested in it, but I haven't actually had anybody tell me their encounter yet.
Right. You got people like that though. They'll be curious about it, you know what I mean, and you will tell them and you explain to them what they is, and tell them about your encounter, you know what I mean, but it's like they won't it's like they just won't grasp to it. So I guess you got to leave some people where they at. Only thing we can do is just share the information that we have to others out there, and let it be known that these creatures are real and that they are out here.
Right. I feel that. I agree with you 100% on that.
Somebody wanted to know if you had any missing time that took place when that rhinoceros-like creature came running through.
No, we were really busy that day, and we were working on getting ready to go to a craft show, basically. So we were there from real early in the morning till real late at night, and it kind of happened in the middle of the day, the middle towards the evening time of the day. So no, we went directly from that ate dinner and went right back to work until about 3 o'clock that morning. So there wasn't any missing time.
Right. Because you do have people that have lapse in time though. They not maybe a half hour that they can't account for. So it do
Right.
happen in some cases.
I think that's usually with UFO type stuff, and I think some people, when they have like supernatural experiences where they kind of black out, I think sometimes they have missing time too. Have y'all ever heard of a Dogman experience or a cryptid experience where they had missing time? I don't think I have.
I'm trying to think, B. Did somebody tell us that?
I feel
One
like
of the
I did.
eyewitnesses?
Yeah, it was Nigel, wasn't it? Didn't he say he fell asleep?
Yeah, it was.
That was tied to that UFO stuff too. But remember, he said he came back and his roommate said he was gone for like 3 hours.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Wow.
And I heard another one time where somebody had passed out of fear. They passed out under a tree, and when they woke up, the dog man was gone. But
that would be really scary.
Yeah, that's
See
cool.
a dog and pass out.
Right.
Oh,
That'd be
Lord.
awful. Get
me away. Benita, did you post that thing in the dog pack where that dog man, and it was like, what would you do if you woke up and this thing was standing over you?
Oh, the thing you posted, B?
Yeah, I posted that on there. That's all.
What?
I wouldn't want to miss any time if that thing was standing over me.
Right. What would you do?
That is crazy.
What would you do, B?
I would play dead. I would have to play dead. I'd be too afraid to do anything else because I'd be afraid to make the slightest movement.
I would probably poop or pee on myself.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's gonna happen anyway.
That would scare me.
I can't remember. I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to move.
And you know what? Go ahead, B.
I was just saying, I would hope that the thing would just kind of walk off and lose interest in me.
That's what I was going to say. You wanted to lose interest.
Because ain't no fighting back against something like that.
And the one thing about them, though, it's like you know, man, B, man, you be talking about this sometime. It's like some of them can pick up on your smell. And it's like I don't know how they do it. You know what I mean? Like people when they say, okay, they get a whiff of them and this person might live 40 miles and the next thing you know, later on that night, it's looking in his window or her window, and that's just amazing.
Uh-huh.
They pick up on that smell though.
Oh yeah.
They put that nose up in the air.
Yeah, they do. That's crazy.
They put that nose up in the air, boy, and they sniff. I got it.
Marvin, you're giving me the heebie-jeebies.
They will, though.
That's crazy.
I forgot to ask, when you did see that thing go over to your neighbor's house, did you ever see it leave? Were you still there when it left the scene, or what? I don't remember hearing anything about that.
It went back over into the neighbor's tree line. The neighbors had dog pens and they raised pit bulls. And so sort of to the left of my friend's property and to the right, they all had a tree line behind their property that goes straight into the Sam Houston National Forest and is nothing but trees. So it's like the whole area is like little areas cut out of the trees where the houses are put. And it's a dirt road. It's a cul-de-sac, so it's kind of like a big circle, you know? So up at the left-hand side is where the neighbors, and it came from the left part of their house, from the side of their house, and then it went back in around the right side of their house. It tried to go through. My friend's yard is kind of a diagonal because if you can picture the houses on a cul-de-sac, it's not a straight up and, it's not like they're not like square lots. They're oddly shaped lots. Because my friend has almost an acre, and the neighbor has about probably maybe an acre and a quarter, and then the neighbor next door has 2 or 3 lots, so they might have 2 acres next door. So, and it's all like one big circle. It's a cul-de-sac. So it didn't go into her property. It went back into the wood line, but around the other side of the house. So it went around the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like the dogs reacted at all when that thing came around?
The whole time they were barking. Yes, they were barking.
You said they were barking?
Yes, they were. They were in pens. They were in, kennels, pens.
Yeah.
But they were barking.
But
they were always barking.
Right. But it's like they see them anyway. They see them. I guess that's why Dogmen don't like dogs. You know what I mean? Because they'll give them up. You know what I mean? They'll let them know that, okay, something out there and it's watching us. And they'll start barking. That's why I guess they so rough on dogs.
That was with either the cryptid, the rhinoceros bear-looking cryptid or demon, and those neighbors were gone and no longer lived there when I had the Dogman experience there. So there were no animals when I had the Dogman experience, other than my friend had 2 Yorkie poos, and they were in the house. So they don't let the Yorkie poos stay out at night because the Yorkie poos go into the wood and chase hogs and chase deer, and they're afraid they're going to get killed. So they bring them in the house at night.
Were you the only person outside when this encounter took place with this creature?
He was outside. Her husband was outside, but he was inside the shop. So the shop door is open like a big garage. It's like a 10-foot by 30-foot building. And the garage was open, and she was in the house. And then she stepped out onto the back porch. They smoke. I'm not opposed to smoking occasionally, but I've never been a smoker or anything like that, and I've got asthma really bad. So I would just sit out there with them when they were smoking. I didn't smoke, but the 2 places they would go would be the back porch, and then around the side where the shop was. If he was in the shop working, they've got French doors that open up to right in front of the shop too. So we would spend more time around the side of the house than we would the back part. But as the sun would go through the day and the heat of the day, we would move around to the different sides of the house. And that's why when I saw the Dogman, that's why I had left my phone there on the back porch, because in the house, my phone wouldn't ring. I had T-Mobile, and I didn't get service in the house, but I would get service on that back porch. So that's why I left my phone, so that if my husband needed me, he could get a hold of me. But I was only there and saw it, and then she came outside right after I had the experience, and she saw how, pale and freaked out I was. She could tell, how freaked out I was. And then he came around the shop to figure out what was going, because I was not crying, but I was a little bit hysterical, and I had been praying. So she came outside, and then he came around the side where the porch was, and he was teasing me, and she's told him off and told him, no, you look at her face. She's not making this up. She really saw that, and if you can't believe what she saw, you can tell she saw something, because she doesn't get that white that often. So I guess that was my only person who was there to back me up was my friend, and she saw my reaction, not the thing itself. So it was already gone before she came outside.
So she know you saw something?
She knows I saw something, because right off the bat, I told her, you need to pray with me, because I told her what I saw. And then she went and got the Catholic candles and set them up around the house and burned them for extra protection, is what she told me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not Catholic, so I don't know the significance.
Yeah, B, I do.
Okay. It's a list growing more and more with this stuff now. You know what I'm talking about. We have to write this down. We're going to keep a log on this.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
Let me see. Any more questions?
Anybody got last minute questions? Oh, that was not a. Trying to see if we missed any. Cause you know a lot of times when we talk and you know the questions just roll right past.
Right. I've been reading a lot of them and trying to scroll and keep going back.
Yeah. I mean, cause we covered you know the basic questions about what it was and what it looked like and you know stuff
Yeah.
like that and
Well, if anybody has any that y'all need to forward to me, just you know where to find me. Just let me know, and I'll do my best to answer it quickly. If I see any questions that I didn't answer, I'll try to answer them in the group.
Yeah, or if you want, I think let me see. Oh, Candy Girl wanted to know, did you feel ill after you encountered the Dogman or the rhino-like creature?
Not because of that. No,
Okay.
I didn't.
Damon caught, she already responded to this earlier, but she said the eye color of the Dogman were amber color, and the rhinoceros.
Amber or yellow. The young one is the only one that I saw that to me looked like it had tiger's eyes. They're still amber, but it looked more like an animal's eyes.
right.
They weren't glowing. They looked like real eyes.
Wow.
Maybe that's because I was only that closest to that one from the road. And I had my glasses on that day. I'm farsighted, and I don't typically wear my glasses because I just don't like wearing my glasses. But I did have my glasses on that day because I was driving a long distance.
And Richard Reed said, "How are you dealing with this situation? I guess the Dogman encounter and the other encounter. How are you dealing with it now?"
To me, it's just like normal everyday life because I've seen so many things in my life that it's just one more thing. I don't know. It's not normal for me, but it's not 100% abnormal. I don't try to see anything at all, but I do from time to time, so it doesn't usually get under my skin too much.
Okay. Let's see if there's.
I've also never been scared by any of the encounters that I've had to this point, and hope I never am.
I think there's some more coming up now. I don't know if they're questions, but I'm reading through them now, man. Wait a minute, somebody said. Oh, Richard Reed wanted to know, do you have nightmares?
No, somebody else asked that a little bit earlier.
Okay.
No, I do have nightmares, but not about that kind of stuff. I mean, I dream, but I haven't had any nightmares about any of that. None of it felt like it was trying to hurt me, though. If something felt like it was going to hurt me, maybe so. When I was young, up until my teenage years, I used to dream that black dogs were chasing me, and they got me. And I used to always dream that.
I was telling B about a dream I had too. Dogman got me too, but I woke up.
Yeah, I had one as well. It's been a few years ago now. It was terrifying.
I hope I never have that feeling, ever.
It's terrible.
I was terrified of Labradors for years because when I was younger, we had dogs, and so I don't know where those dreams came from, but I always used to dream that dogs that look like Labradors, black labs, were chasing me and would hurt me. But not because of the Dogman experience.
Now, hey, B, remember we was talking to an eyewitness, I think, I don't know, maybe last week when they said that they've been saying some that look more feline, like look, it had like more of a cat facial features,
Mm-hmm.
like it's a cat cryptid out here. But I done heard quite a few people done said that.
The cat creature.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I've heard of that a few times now.
right, so I'm saying it could be.
Wow.
I
Let me
think
see.
I think Josh said on his show one time, Marvin and B. I think one time he said that some people believe that if the humans dream up any type of cryptid and enough people believe in it, that gives it kind of like a way to exist, kind of like creates it. Do you ever
Oh,
think maybe that is the way some of these cryptids happen?
I don't know. What you think about that, B? I don't know about that one.
What's that? I missed it.
Tell her again, Tracy.
That if somebody dreams up something and starts speaking on it, it's almost like if enough people believe in it, that gives it power to exist. Something that Josh had said on his shows one time. I remember.
I heard of that before.
I heard of it, but I'm like this. If you see something and it exists, it exists. I mean, I don't think you can lay down and dream up of, or maybe more than one person can just lay down and you dream up of something, and the next day you see it. I mean, that's just me.
I think there's some truth to what she's saying, though. I kind of feel like that too. I do think that certain things will
Unless it's part
power.
of unless it's part of your brain telling you saying something.
I don't know. Maybe something like that, like the cat person. Maybe that's a skinwalker.
What you were just saying. Somebody in the comment section, Pat Murphy said you were talking about tulpas. If you think of it, I think tulpas. I believe that I've heard that's Native American.
Hey, Tracy, do you be scared when you by yourself?
Who, me?
Yes.
No. I don't like
Yep.
to be by myself, but I'm not scared when I'm by myself. No.
That was a question from the chat room. Jennifer Christmas
But no,
said you can conjure
I
stuff
might be
up.
scared if I was alone in the woods by myself. That might scare me.
Let's see. Yeah, me too. Let me see.
A lot of people don't
I
like
guess
them. A lot of people don't like them woods.
I'm never going to go hiking by myself in the woods. I have never done that, and I will never do that. I don't go places just to be alone. I don't like that. So I guess in a way, yeah, I might be scared to be alone, but not if I'm just at home or whatever.
Right.
Right. Let me see.
So
Alright, well, let me see. We've been going for almost 2 hours. Did you have
oh my
anything else
goodness,
that you want to share with us, Tracy?
Any
just
closing?
just anybody out there, just if y'all have encounters and something, tell Marvin about them, and he's a great guy to talk to. If you're afraid to talk to someone, he'll be very patient and will listen to you, and he'll either do this for you or give you the opportunity to speak to others on your own. And if I can help anybody, I will gladly, you guys can send me their information. I'll be glad to talk to anybody who needs help as well.
Yep, so if
So-
any of y'all want to contact Tracy, get in touch with Tracy, you can do so through Marvin. I know she's not going to give her number out or anything like that on here. So
Right now, I'd rather Marvin,
Yeah.
let them know and let me know.
Right. So if y'all want to do that, then you can just say yes or contact Marvin on Messenger or on Facebook, and he can get the message over to Tracy, and then she'll contact you from there.
And I'm just a normal person like everybody else. I put my pants on the same way everybody else does. I don't judge. I'm pretty much open. I am a Christian. If that offends you, I apologize, but I am, and I'll continue to be that way. But I try not to judge other people. I kind of lean towards the spiritualist side of things, and I pretty much accept all religions as being connected in some way. So some people don't like that either, but that's just how I am personally.
And again, Tracy, you know what I mean, we enjoyed you, coming on here, and sharing your story. So maybe just somebody, even if you help the one person tonight that can open up and come on and share their encounter. You know what I mean? Man, we always tell them that. You know what I mean? We're family here, you know what I mean? So this is home, you know what I mean? So you can come here and, like we said, talk about your encounter, and you're not going to be talked about or, or ridiculed or nothing like that. And another thing, though, I had got a text from an eyewitness, you know what I mean, who, and it still bothered me to this day that we was supposed to go and help. And it's like she's saying that don't nobody believe her, don't nobody want to help her. And and we was supposed to go down there, but other people had different reasons of why they didn't go. You
Right.
know. But I told her though, I said, you know what I'm saying, I'm still willing to help you. So even if they don't want to do it, you know what I mean, B told me just try to find another research team that'll go down there and that'll help her with, with these problems.
But also in all fairness as well, you have to look at the situation too. The people who were going to go out to interview this lady, they are very professional. To be in their defense as well, because they're very professional. I know that the one of the researchers, he, just based on what I've heard and having talked to him, very professional, and is able to kind of make that assessment based on his knowledge and based on certain things. He has a sense of somewhat being a psychologist and I'm not going to say like a guru, but he's very knowledgeable about a lot of things. I think he has discernment as well, so I'm not saying anything negative about um, the witness. Is just that you never know a person's situation either. They have to gauge it and make a decision and a choice based on what the information that they're given. It's not that they're going to go out. So, you have to look at it from all angles.
Right.
Well, sometimes some people would say to me, "Oh, you don't have enough information. Your encounter is not very long." But that doesn't, to me, I don't want to be told that I'm discounted. But at the same time, there are people out there who've had like all night, weeks and months and years of being terrorized and stuff, and I'm not like that. But I would still be able to lend an ear to someone, but I can't go out to their house and research anything for them. I wouldn't know what I was doing. That's why it's good that we have a pack and we have people that can reach out. If someone just needs to talk, I'm here. I have time. Even if I don't agree with what you're saying, I can listen to you and lend you an ear. Absolutely. And give you my best advice.
Now, B, remember we had another person, I'm not going to put their name out there, that said, and he, person that made a statement, has anyone gotten hurt yet? And I don't know, maybe I took it the wrong way, and like, do somebody got to get hurt in order for you to want to go out there to help this person? Maybe I took it the wrong way, but I don't know. I guess you can put it both ways.
Almost like somebody would only want something to help someone if something extremely negative.
Right. Because that's what the person asked me. He said, have anyone gotten hurt yet? I'm like, why does it got to take a person to get hurt? And then they say, what kind of evidence do the person have? Okay, most of the evidence out here is what? Footprints, a blurry picture. You got something that looks okay. Or what do you got to have? A body? You ain't getting that. So I
No,
mean,
you're not.
we only can go off of pictures and videos and trail cams and stuff like that. Cause it ain't like a person gonna have a dead body on their property.
I just
Right.
think that, I just think on that too. A lot of times you never know how many calls people are getting, especially if they're researching cases. They're trying to probably in some cases go out to the ones that where there's emergency situations first, or they're trying to gauge it to. I guess at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with making a phone call to try to make an assessment for yourself. I don't know if the eyewitness had run across anybody else that she had ever called personally before tried to get help with, but
Right.
you never know what's going through a person's mind unless you actually talk to them too. So
Right.
I'm just saying, like, you don't
But
want to bash people either and just
right.
look at them like they're coming from a bad place in their heart and just not want to go out.
Right. But a lot of times though, B, I mean, a lot of times though, I guess in certain cases though, it's good to go out there and see for yourself before you make a judgment and say, okay, no, I mean, sometimes it's good to go and look around and see for yourself and assess the situation and then go from there.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, I know you're a researcher yourself, Marvin, so, and you've been in contact with this lady frequently now. I think maybe you should plan a trip to go out there.
Yeah,
I think that
true.
you've been talking to her probably, I don't know if she's been in contact with anybody else, so that's something that I think would be worth your time to do. That way you can make an assessment.
I mean, yeah, and that's what one person said. Go out there and assess the situation. You know what I mean? Pictures, videos, whatever you can get, and then we can move further from there. You know, but I'ma
Because,
still try to see if someone wants to go and and look at it and they can see for themselves.
well, why don't you be
You
the
might.
first one? You should go on out there because I think that if you go out there, if you go and interview the lady in person yourself, and you find things that you find that are credible, then you get back to your team on that.
That's true.
Because she doesn't live far from you. She lives right there in your town, doesn't she?
Yeah,
In your city or state, like she lives right there close to you. So it would make more sense probably and more feasible for you to go than for them. I'm not sure where they live at, but it you reach out and see how that works out.
yeah. I mean, that is a
That
good.
way, at
That
the
is
end
a
of the
good.
day, there's
That is a good idea.
that way at the end of the day, there's no hard feelings. Then you can kind of make your own assessment after the fact. But let me see.
I agree.
I'm just trying to see if there's any more people. A lot more people are posting stuff, so I was trying to see if anybody else had anything else they wanted to say.
Yeah, trying to see if they got any new questions.
And I know she's got a baby too, so
Yeah. That's
He's
one.
asleep. He's asleep. He's because he's underweight a little bit. He's on a newborn feeding schedule, so I have to wake him up at 3, 6, 9, and 12. 3, 6, 9, and 12. So he's good until 12. Then I gotta wake him up and feed him. So I'm good otherwise, but I appreciate the opportunity that y'all gave me this evening. I enjoyed it.
well,
Absolutely.
thank you for calling in, and we're gonna reach back out to you. I think everybody's asked all the questions they're gonna ask for now. We're just gonna take a few more questions here on Q&A, and lots of
Okay.
thank you for calling in, and we will be reaching back out to you.
Okay, no problem. I will log into the chat and see y'all because I haven't been able to see what people are asking.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, get
I
on there.
didn't. Okay. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening.
All right. You too, Tracy.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye. Gerald said, but besides emotional support, how are you really going to help them though? Besides bringing a kill team to take them out,
But
I, I
go ahead, you
kind of
go first, B.
well, I kind of agree with what Gerald's saying because you can only really give emotional support unless you do have some type of kill team, or you got some type of government agencies that come in and trap them and take them back to some facility or something like that. And there's not always safety in numbers. In some cases, people going out where there's been plenty of cases where there's been whole military teams or and stuff like that have gone out into the woods, and several of them got taken out. So it's really not even a safe thing when you've got somebody who's got aggressive dogmen on their property, and you're going out there to go investigate. Just having like regular team members who, you're
Right.
going out maybe not really prepared for what you get out there to see. Then what happens if somebody gets hurt? So you have to look at all angles on it.
Absolutely. And of course you gonna lend somebody some moral support. You know what I mean? You want to try to help them, but on the other hand, you got to protect yourself too.
Yeah, but he's saying, how are you going to help when you get out there? If you go out there to help the person, our witness, what really can you do? You're going to go out there, you're going to investigate. You'll find blood samples, you'll find hair samples, DNA footprints, possibly, and possibly not. But even after you go out there and do an investigation, then what are you going to do? Because even the ones who we're called experts and researchers in this field, all they can really do is go out there and research.
Yeah,
There's
you
not
don't.
any, well, not a, okay, they're going to go do research,
Right.
but when they leave, the people still have to deal with those creatures on their property.
Right. So it ain't but so much you can do, but you can try to help. I mean, it's ways. Okay, why these? Try to find out why are they on her property. Are they traveling from another state down here? You know what I mean? Or are they just residing there? You know what I mean? It might be a good food source, water. If it got the basic essentials, then it don't have to go nowhere because it got everything there. But I mean, you can. It's a lot of things you can find out without going in there. And, I mean, it's just making a mess. You know, so you can always go in there and try to help. Try to find out, are they moving from state to state? Are they traveling? From other parts. It's a lot of things you can find out instead of going in there and trying to kill one of these things, and God forbid something happened to one of y'all.
Yeah, but how does that help the person though? If they're still there after the fact?
That's what I'm saying though. But okay, that's why I said though, try to find out. The only thing we can do find out, why are they? I mean, it might sound silly and whatever, but why are they just hanging on her property? Why are they not moving? I mean, these are questions I'm asking, trying to find out. Is it a good food source? Um, enough water and stuff like that? Cause you got some animals, man, when they got all that, the best of both worlds, then why move? So that's the only thing I'm saying is, why are they hanging around there? She said they've been there since 2016.
Well,
That's a long time.
I'm familiar with that kind of stuff because, like with my encounter, there's plenty of people like who have not everybody. That's not always the case, but there's plenty of situations where there's people who have them on their property, and they've been there for years, and they've gotten used to them. Like I know my parents' old neighborhood they used to live in. The ones that were there have been there for several years. I'm not sure exactly how long, but
Right,
there's just certain ones, and I believe that that's just their domain, that's their territory, and I
right,
believe as more houses and stuff are being built, and now we're moving into their neck of the woods, more houses are being built further out in the rural areas. We're getting in their territory now, so I think now what's happening is that we're seeing them a lot more because of that.
right, right.
That's
And
just my thought. That doesn't make me
and you
right.
know what though, but you absolutely right. Because every time you went out there, you see these creatures. So it
Mhm.
wasn't just one time you went out there and seen them. It's
Yeah,
every time you went out there, you seen them. So they had to be around. They had to be. Either they close by in that vicinity, or maybe they mark their territories. They might have a 50-mile radius where they just control that whole area.
exactly.
So I'm sure they mark their territory with probably urine or even markers to let another, another pack, look, don't come over here, this is ours. So they gonna mark their whole territory. They ain't gonna just mark one spot. They gonna mark everywhere where they travel and they hunt. They gonna mark that whole area. So that's what
Exactly.
they could be doing too.
Anybody have any suggestions for how you think it might be possible to help somebody who has dogman activity on their property,
And let them know, B, it just ain't Doug Man.
or Bigfoot or any other cryptid?
Right. And she
But
got paranormal.
and sometimes it's important to keep in mind too that sometimes when you go out on um, whether it's paranormal, where you got people coming in because people have demonic activity going on in their house. Sometimes when the priest or the research team go in there, sometimes they make the situation worse by doing so. So it just depends on what's done when you get over there. Because some of those cases where you got people who have property and they know the goings and comings of the individuals who live there, then you get they know the goings and comings of people who live there, and then you know, the people who live there know, okay, we need to respect their property. We're not going to go back there. We know how far we can go into the woods and how far not to go. But then here's these people. They pull up over here in their driveway, and now they're coming back here in our neck of the woods. Okay, they might take that as a threat and then decide to start harassing that family after the research team leaves. They've made it worse on them. So it's a lot of stuff to consider.
Any
Candy
more
Girl said
questions,
she
B?
would put cameras up. Yeah, Candy Girl said I would put cameras up there, said to avoid cameras. Maybe they will leave if she installs cameras and motion lights.
What was the question, B?
No, Candy Girl was just
Oh,
saying she would put up cameras because she said, and maybe they'll leave if she installs cameras and motion lights. I'm just gonna go through here and read some people's ideas. Candy Girl agreed with me. She said the researchers might cause more problems than anticipated. That's what I was saying, Candy Girl, because like I said, there's only when they get out there, they're gonna pull. I mean, not just the particular research team that he mentioned, but any research team, they're gonna go out there and get samples. May take some video, some audio equipment out there to try to get sounds and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when you leave, there activity is usually still going on at the house because really, if there's aggressive activity that's happening out there, 9 times out of 10, for the most part, most research. I'm not going to say this is always the case because I know it is some rare times, but 9 times out of 10, whatever dogman that people are usually seeing on their own property, when the researchers get there, they're probably not going to see it unless they spend an extended amount of time out there to actually see this activity, unless this is something that the dogmen are coming up to these people's house every single day at the same time, and the researchers decide to stay over the night or stay for a few days and actually see this stuff for themselves. So the person is left still needing help when the researchers leave.
any more questions?
Uh, Hold on.
long we been on, B?
2 hours and 12 minutes.
About ready?
Yeah, I'm just gonna read a few more and then we'll shut it down. Eric Barkman said, "Why not just place really loud proximity alarms around the house?" I think that could work. It sounds pretty good. I mean, not sure, but
Okay, now Candy Girl just said this. She said she should come on the show. And remember, we talked about that. We had it her lined up.
what happened?
We talking about Amy.
Yeah, no, what happened?
Remember? Remember, she said she would.
Yeah.
And remember, me and man, you had that talk.
Yes, I think you said that she didn't really feel comfortable to go ahead and come on because she felt like she was being because
The
she didn't
situation.
feel like she was getting help.
But do you wanna have her come on? Because I guess they saying that that might help, and I guess they'll have a chance to hear what she got to say firsthand. But we always gonna talk to her first. You know what I mean?
I
So
think it'd be great for her to
if
come on.
right, if she talking about one subject, if she talking about the Dogman,
No, she can talk about whatever she wants to talk about.
All right, so you want her to mix it up then?
Yep.
All right, okay. Then we'll have her cause she was supposed to be a guest anyway, so we'll bring her on. So I guess that's all the questions. Be
Well, the girl said, "Can he call in?"
you want him to? It's
Yep, Gerald, if you want to call in, you
tell
can
him.
call in real quick, whatever needs to be. But
Ask him.
again,
You want to ask him if it's for Encounter, baby, or what he want to say?
you can
What's his name?
Gerald Williams.
Daryl Williams. Do you want to
Gerald.
come, Gerald? Do you want to come on and ask questions or what? Can you let us know?
He probably wants to tell his theory about what it would do, I guess, as far as helping or not helping to go out there. I'm assuming. Gerald, if you want to call in, we only got about 5 minutes. So if you want to call in, then you can call in now, if possible.
The number is 443-814-7517. That's 443-814-7517. Can you call in now? And if you're trying to call in, because we only, like B said, we only got a few minutes.
And Candy's girl said, "Are they bothering the woman?"
I mean, from what she told us,
What did she tell you specifically?
um, they throwing rocks, not at her, just at her, but they throwing rocks at her dog, and stuff like that. Constantly, said they constantly peeking in the house. It's a lot of stuff she didn't even tell us. She just told us little bits and pieces, cause we never really stayed on the phone to hear everything that she had to say.
Well, she had a lot.
Right. So I mean, I'm thinking we need to try to take some time out and just have her to come on and she could tell us all those things. Are they bothering you? How much are they bothering you? Are they knocking at the window? Are they scratching at the house?
Okay.
He never came back on. I don't see him. Oh yes, he did. Actually, we can do it another time. He said he can do it another time on the next live. That's cool.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I'm looking.
Okay, well, with that, like I said, we had a great guest on tonight. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed our encounters. You know, it gave me insight on the new cryptid or whatever it is out there to look out for. So, um, as always, you know, like, comment,
Share.
share, and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, you know, we love y'all and you know we miss y'all and we'll see y'all on the next live. Good night.
Good night.